All right, guys, I got to start off, just give you a little insight into Big Red here. Big Red only comes out if it's less than 30 degrees on that practice field. We went out to practice this morning, it was 23 degrees. So this is head coach apparel. I had assistant coaches wanting a Big Red. I had players wanting a Big Red. There's always a line of separation, 1 degree of separation between the head coaches, the assistant coaches, and the players, and definitely the media. So this is Big Red. It only comes out when it's 30 degrees or less, in case any of you guys are curious about that. Frank, don't steal that. All right, guys, just 3-7 playing Boise. We all get what that is. One thing I told our team today is, we're not a bad team. We're more an inconsistent team that offensively is trying to become consistent. Defensively, we are beat up and we're having a hard time getting stops, but we have made some stops. If you go back and look, if somehow you can compartmentalize and picture in the mind the good things that have happened and picture and being able to do that for 60 minutes, you can picture a 7-3 team. So again, that's not just some kind of mindless philosophy. It's more that there have been some bits and pieces of good things. We've created 9 fumbles in the last 3 weeks. I mean, that's unheard of. We had 250 yards at halftime on offense against Air Force. That's the good news. The second half, we know what happened. We had a punter punt the ball 84 yards. We had no penalties in a game for the first time since 1984, which is an amazing stat when you think about 34 years of Lobo football without a penalty in the game. Now, obviously, all those things sound better if you won, and all of them sound pretty hollow if you haven't won. And I get that. But the point is, can we put it all together before the clock runs out on us with 2 games left? That's really what it is. I've been very pleased with these players. It's amazing. There's been some tough moments. And it's not going to get any easier Saturday night. So it's 3-7 New Mexico against Boise. Boise coming in here, another top 25 team with a NFL quarterback, without any doubt. I think an NFL running back. They always are what they are on defense. They've got a real good punt returner. They're Boise, who the next week plays Utah State for all the marbles. So again, sometimes it isn't as bad as it looks. Sometimes it isn't as good as it looks. We just got to find a way to become consistent, and we've got to find a way to really muscle up and man up on defense. I think, we've played Air Force a lot. We'd beaten Air Force 4 of the last 5 years. Playing Air Force the 10th game of the season was different than playing Air Force the 4th game of the season or the 5th game. Air Force has always handed the ball to the fullback. By the end of the season, there's some things we have to address across the board in regards to Lobo football. But it was an eye-opener playing them the 10th game when all of a sudden they're handing the ball to the fullback and you're getting pounded. Some of it injury, some of it things we have to do better as an entire program. But we're 3-7 and we're playing Boise. So, Van, you want to start it off?
Of course, Coach.
3-7. Yeah.
I guess the one thing is you talked about some of the things that you guys have done well and how this thing is so close. Have you talked to what do you tell them about finishing now? Like, just finish the game, finish.
Yeah, I don't mean to mistake that we've done some good things and it's really close. We've ended up with some scores at the end of the game that haven't been that close too. I think if we can put it all together and play consistent, and rise to another level, we can be close. We're not quite close yet. So I'm not standing up here, the snake oil salesman saying, boy, we're so close. I'm pretty realistic to what we are. as the game goes on and the game goes down to crunch time, whether it was San Diego State that had the wake-up call at the end of the game maybe and turned it on late with number 25 with 2 long runs there late in the game. There's no secret to that. It is just overall consistency. And I think having the confidence when things go bad that through execution we can rebound and get momentum back. All of a sudden when things go bad, there's a tendency to look around and think, okay, we need something magical to happen. What we really need to do is just execute and get momentum back. But we've been unable to do that. Air Force is an unbelievable example of 250 yards in the first half. We get the ball the first series of the second half, make a first down, we throw the interception on 1st and 10, launch it down the field. Trying to make a play. We've made some plays down the field. We made some plays in that game down the field, but it's 1st and 10. We get the ball back. T.O. fumbles on kind of a controversial call over there. Then the very next series, we drop the kickoff and we get the ball on the 10-yard line. So because of a lack of execution in critical moments, we end up being what it is. And I could go back to every game, every single game. I can go back to the 2nd and 20 against San Diego State when we're up 23-14. I can go back to the Liberty game when it's 3rd and 6 with 3 minutes left, and we've got that thing back to a winnable game. Colorado State, 3rd and 6, and we don't make the play to convert, and the clock's going to run out. That's what you do when you're not winning, is you look at every single thing, and you become paralyzed a little bit by analysis. In the end, what I know is we have to execute better, particularly when we're playing the kind of teams we're playing. We've played really good teams, without a doubt. Okay? Steve.
So I talked to Aaron Jenkins after practice today, and he says he's treating this week like any other week, even though he's going to break the record this week. What do you think that says about his character, that he's just going about this week as another week?
Yeah, I'm glad you told me that, because I didn't know that, honestly. That's the first I've really heard about that. And he is an unselfish guy, and he continues to be that. We saw it when we recruited him, being in his home. The story's well documented with his mom. I saw it when Texas Tech came in late, right before the signing date, but he had committed to us. I'm glad he's getting the recognition. I'm glad you're asking about Aaron Jenkins. To be able to have that kind of consistent career that he's had, and particularly the last 2 years have been difficult. There's no way around. We won 3 games last year, and right now we've won 3 games at this point this year. And, I appreciate him. I appreciate him so much. I really do. He deserves every bit of recognition he's gotten. Van?
Have you decided, as far as quarterback, are you going to split them again, or are you?
Not sure. I think that both of them will definitely play. Both of them will play for sure. I think you guys can see what it is. Sharon brings a certain playmaking ability, good and bad at times. He is getting better. Colton brings some consistency. So, I think both of them for sure will play, Van. Who will start? I'm not sure yet. We're not sure yet.
Are you a little, I know there's nothing you can do about this, but the game's on Friday night, and we have 4 high school games being played. Like one's going to have probably 5,000, probably 15,000 people are going to be going to those high school games, and none of them can come here. It's kind of sad that happens. I know there's nothing you can do
Sure.
about it, but it's a
Yeah,
shame.
And no different than the MAC conference. If you watch the MAC, and they're playing Tuesday night games, there's a MAC game tonight. They play doubleheaders on Tuesday and Wednesday night in the MAC. We all know that there's a financial element to this, and you have to do what you have to do depending on what conference you're in. With that said, I think there were 14,000 people here on a Saturday night against a really, really good San Diego State team. 2 weeks before that, against a really good Fresno State team that was in the top 20, what were there? 18,000. We can all discuss why not. That becomes a tired conversation. I don't think it's going to affect the attendance, quite honestly, because I think the people that care about Lobo football are those people. You know, I think that base is what that base is. But yeah, I mean, to play on Friday night is different. You know, but again, you look at Boise, they play every 8:15, 8:20 kickoff. They've just announced at Utah State on Saturday night, next Saturday night's an 8:20 kickoff. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. But I think that's worth noting. You know, we are going head-to-head this week with high school games as well, particularly high school games that really matter here. Not that they all don't matter, but now we're into the final part of it.
Also, I was just going to say about Wyoming, do you know that if Wyoming beats Air Force next week, they'll have to beat you in order for them to go bowling? So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, Henry.
Coach, the fired up factor, the emotional factor, are your players still there?
Yeah, I mean, we rally. I don't think that's been the issue. You know, I did sense a little bit, again, in the Air Force game, playing against that style of offense there late in the game where, you know, we were beat up and injured, you know, like I talked about with Alex Hart and Evatoe out. Cody Baker was injured and hurt his ankle early. You know, we got beat down a little bit there at the end, you know, with the fullback and just kind of, you know, they could have done pretty much what they wanted to at the end. I don't think it's so much about being excited or not excited. You know, football is tough. Football is tough. I mean, you're out there for 3 hours and 20 minutes when the whole thing ends. So it's not as much as excitement level as just mental toughness and consistency. And I've not had any problems at all with our, you know, excitement level. At some point, you know, you need some good things to happen too. You know, you need good things to happen. And I understand that, but I've been pleased with that. I think we've gotten up off the mat each week that we've had to. I think we've, you know, I think we've played hard. It's just, you know, we haven't been consistent enough, probably because we're not good enough right now, truthfully. And we've got 2 weeks here to hopefully put our best performances together and try to win a game or two here at the end.
Where's Colton at health-wise? He was pretty banged up after.
He's better this week, though, than he was last week. You know, coming off the San Diego State game, which you can understand was his first game really pushing off that and cutting. And then he tried to practice Monday and probably had a little setback last week. He was a little bit smarter this week. And he didn't play as much as against Air Force. He didn't play as much, which helped. He did take some shots against Air Force twice. You know, they came with a all-out blitz with kind of the nickel coming from the field through the B gap, and you know, one time hit him in the back. He didn't even see him coming. But he's better. You know, you'd have to ask him if he's 75% or what the real thing is. But he's better this week than last. Okay, guys.
We good?
Anything else? All right, guys.
Big Red.
They were-